Hey guys, I've got your luxury beauty lowdown for the month. I'll be talking about my favorites, I'll be talking about some fails, and then I'll be giving you just some general thoughts on things that I've tried that maybe aren't favorites and aren't fails. Without any further ado, because I have a very long list here, and if I keep looking down, it's because I'm referring to this list. So let's start with favorites. So this month was a huge Chanel month on the channel. I went through my entire Chanel collection. I was talking about what I had, what I decluttered, what I needed to repurchase. And then I made a follow-up video where I did not only repurchase, but purchase a lot of things from Chanel. And one thing that is not a repurchase, but was brand new, and I found this when I was just perusing their site under primers, and I was so intrigued. It's this Sublimage. Now that's the French name. Let me find the English name. It is the Ultimate Radiance Enhancing Priming Moisturizer. It comes in this beautiful refillable packaging. So you twist this and then it's a pump. And then in the box, there's 2 refills. So you get a total of 1.5 fluid ounces. Each refill is 0.5 fluid ounces. Now it has a little bit of like a glowy sheen to it. It is a beautiful skincare, but it really is a wonderful primer because it's very smoothing and it has that little bit of glow. I have dry skin, so anything that gives my skin extra moisture and a little bit of that glow, it is absolutely wonderful. I do have this on today. I pump out maybe 2 or 3 pumps depending on how dry my skin is feeling, probably 3 pumps today. And I just, spread it on the way I would any sort of normal moisturizer. And I just love the very subtle glow that it gives my skin. I have a lot of glowy type of base products like, the Supergoop, Glow Screen, Victoria Beckham, Cell Rejuvenating Priming Moisturizer. I think that's the full name. Like those types of products. And sometimes they're just like a little bit too glowy. This is much more subtle than all of those. And I really like just the subtle sheen because I do go in with other products just in my normal makeup routine that have a lot of glow. So it's like, I don't want to start out with too much. So anyway, it has the perfect amount of glow. It has the perfect amount of like moisturization. It really is just wonderful on the skin. So I love this. And when I hauled this, someone in my comment section was like, primer, this is gonna ruin you for any other kind of primer out there. So I tend to agree because it's really wonderful. So that's the Sublimage Ultimate Radiance Enhancing Priming Moisturizer from Chanel. Now the base product I have on is a mixture of this Milk Makeup Grip Gel Tint in shade number 3. I talked about this last month, so I'm not gonna linger too long on this, but it's a really wonderful skin tint. It lasts all day. It has like a decent amount of coverage. I think tint is actually an understatement. I would say this has like a solid light medium level coverage. I personally prefer like lighter coverage foundations. And while I can use this on its own, like it's fine. It doesn't look heavy or too cakey or like full coverage. Far from that. But because I like light coverage foundations, I've started to mix the Dior Forever Glow Star Filter in. Now, if you watched my trying new makeup video last week, I use this alone and it's fantastic. It has such a beautiful level of glow. By the end of the day, I will say I looked pretty glowy. If you have like normal to oily skin, you would probably want to powder or not use this on its own as like a base product. If you have dry skin and you like glow, this is definitely wonderful for that. So I have this in shade number 2 and I mixed it today with this Grip Gel Tint. It sheared out the coverage a little bit and it gives the Grip Gel Tint. It gives it that little bit of glow that I really like my complexion products to have. So what you see on my skin is a mixture of the Sublimage primer and then the Grip Gel Tint mixed with the Dior Forever Glow Star Filter. Now I just do like 1-to-1. So I basically squeeze out of the tube like a 2-inch strip on my hand and then 1 solid pump of this, and it's great. It's such a great combination. I absolutely love it. My skin looks so soft. I don't even have any powder on today because I wanted you guys to see like the true finish of this combination. It's really wonderful. See how soft my skin looks? And it's filtered and it has like a slight glow. It's just gorgeous. That combination is really gorgeous. So been loving that combination, been loving this in particular. Now, this is another fairly new product to my collection. I just tried it out in that trying new makeup video where I tried out the Star Filter. And this is it's the sculpting stick and I have it in shade Willow. And I just really like the tone. Now, you know, this form factor is nothing new. This little kind of chubby cream stick is nothing new, but I really do like the shape of this. I really like that it's thin and it's really easy to actually contour, especially like my nose. I don't contour a lot. I usually just contour under my cheekbones, but when I have something like this, it just makes it easy and fun. And so I've been contouring the sides of my nose, I don't know if you can tell, and like my temples or whatever, and I was kind of drawing this on my forehead. It's just a really nice, very blendable formula, and I really, really like this willow tone. It is definitely on the cooler side, but it's not super duper scary cool where it looks kind of gray or just unusual in real life versus like on the camera. I think a lot of makeup products are created for like camera work, for photos and things, and they can be a little bit dramatic for real life. This is great, I think, for real life. You know, if you were to hang out with people in real life, they wouldn't think anything was up with your makeup. So anyway, I really like the formula. I really like the shade, and I just, you know, I really like the stick of this. So that's the Eczema sculpting stick in Willow. Really, really enjoying this. Okay, guys. I have a little bit of a retraction here. I will say that they have reformulated this since I last used it and did not like it. I'm talking about the Chanel blush. So as we know, it has been reformulated twice since their formula that I think they had for a very long time that we all have come to love. They reformulated it. I tried a bunch of shades in the new formulation. I think like the original 4 shades they came out with, and I found them very dry, very dusty, hard to blend. They didn't have like a beautiful kind of ethereal glow to them the way the original ones did. And so they reformulated them again, and I had heard that it just wasn't that different from the reformulation that I didn't like. So I didn't try them. But when I did the Chanel video and I did the Chanel haul, I was like, let me just try. Let me just try. So I picked up Jersey, and I love this blush. It's what I have on my cheeks today. I think it blends out beautifully. I think it looks really, really ethereal on my cheeks. I think this shade is wonderful. This particular formula is really great. I don't know. I don't know like if maybe the reformulation between this one and the previous one was different with some shades. I don't know, but the Jersey is really, really great. And I've been applying it with the Chanel Kabuki brush. This brush right here, which, you know what, I'm gonna mention as one of my favorites because I've had this forever. It was one of those initial like Chanel products that I kind of fell in love with when I really started getting into makeup and started my YouTube channel or whatever. I was like, what is that brush? I felt like a lot of people were using it. Anyway, I had to get it. So this brush is probably like 8 years old. It's so great for blush. I love pouncing with this. I do like brushing with it as well. It's just wonderful. So I love this. I love this blush. I really do. I really feel like I'm eating my words now, but I love that that Chanel Jersey blush. And I love this Kabuki brush to go with it. All right, let's talk about mascaras. And actually, now that I'm talking about mascaras, did I talk about this one last month? This is the Tilt Beauty mascara. I've been talking about this brand because I love how they've designed the packaging. The woman who started Tilt Beauty has psoriatic arthritis, and so she wanted to create a beauty line with products that were easy to use and to grip for someone who, you know, probably has like mobility issues in their hands. So this is, I think, the lifting mascara. I'm not sure if that's the full name, but anyway, I'll link it down below. But this is the mascara. It has a curved, slightly curved wand. It is the mascara that I have on today, and I really, really like how it keeps my curl. It makes my lashes look, you know, a little bit fuller. Like it feels like the Goldilocks of mascaras for me. It does a decent job with keeping my curl. It does a decent job plumping up my lashes. It does a decent job lengthening my lashes. So I've really enjoyed it. And I have to say, this is super duper comfortable. And I love, love, love fun packaging. I just, you know, I just gravitate towards it. So I've been using this quite a bit this last month. And this has come back into my life. This is the Chanel Inimitable Waterproof Mascara. And I did purchase this when I did that big Chanel haul. This is such a wonderful mascara. Now, compared to the Tilt, this one it's much more separating and lengthening. It will like really make your lashes look finer than the Tilt. The Tilt makes your lashes look a little bit thicker than this one. And I don't mind when they're like kind of thin and wispy and just kind of long. And this, I would say, compared to the Tilt, if curl is more of like an important aspect of your mascara, you'd want the Inimitable Waterproof Mascara. This really, really does a good job holding my curl. And as for brows, you guys, I have a new brow gel that I am loving. loving. It is the Iris and Romeo Brow Up Thickening Brow Balm, and I have it in the shade Brown Black. It is what I have in my brows today, and I just love it. It has a teeny tiny wand, which I always appreciate, but the spoolie itself is kind of fluffy, so I think it grabs hairs really, really easily. I don't feel like it deposits too much product down. You guys know I've had issues with other products like that. It is not too wet, not too dry in terms of the formula. The color is really nice. It's not too warm. That's also an issue I've had. What product? Oh, it was the Chanel. It was the Chanel Brow Gel. I like the formula, but the color was off for me. It was just a little bit too much of like a warm brown. Anyway, this is a really, really great sort of Goldilocks version of a brow gel. This has a great shade, and yeah, it just keeps my brows in place. It makes them look thicker, makes them look fuller. It's really easy to use, and I love it. Absolutely no complaints. So the Iris and Romeo Brow Up Thickening Brow Balm. Really, really awesome. Okay, and as for eyeshadow, you guys know I was going to talk about these Quints from Dior, and the brown cashmere is amazing. I also did purchase the silk taupe, but if I had to go for one, it would be the brown cashmere. So here's the silk taupe, which is very beautiful, but I really, really like the brown cashmere, and I mentioned this when I tried both of these Quints out, and I have used them both since that video, and I stand by my initial observation about the silk taupe, how a lot of these shades, like basically aside from this dark brown, they kind of have like a similar tone. I mean, this is slightly brightening, but as soon as you put it on top of one of these, because this is more of like a topper shade, it kind of takes on the tone of the other three. So these three over here, they just have sort of like a similar tone. So I would pick one of those to use, and they're wonderful. And you can definitely use these as like one and done shadows. But in terms of like the entire color story for a Quint, I just wish there was a little bit more like push-pull with these shades. Like they just made this one, I don't know, darker or something, like a little bit closer to this, or this one like a little bit lighter. I'm not sure, but I would have just added a little bit more nuance to the shades. Now the brown cashmere, plenty of contrast between the 5 shades, which is why I just like this Quint a little bit more. The formula is incredible. So if any of the Quints, I think there's 4 or 5 that they just came out with, these limited edition ones. This cover, by the way, is plastic, so it's not cloth. It won't get dirty. Any of them, if you like any of them, if any of them call to you, I would go ahead and get it. They are limited edition. They will sell out probably pretty quickly, but I did see them pop up at Nordstrom as well on top of the Dior site. Anyway, this one is perfection. It's so, so good. I basically just have these 2 shades, this all over my lid and this one on the outer corners to deepen up, and it's just wonderful. I mean, you could just do this as a one and done. You could do the gold as a one and done. Because of the color I'm wearing today, I was gonna go in with just the gold, but then I thought, is that too matchy-matchy? So I went with these 2. This color is absolutely fantastic, this shade in the middle, and it was Jennifer from All Feisty who had this center shade like all over her lid when we did that live stream on Sophia C's Beauty's channel, is what convinced me to get these Quints. So this is a beautiful like light, almost white gold, like champagne gold metallic shade. It's like the pictures just don't do it justice, but you'll see here in these swatches just how gorgeous that shade is. So this formula is wonderful. This color story is wonderful. They just work and blend out beautifully. I would even go so far as to say these are wonderful like beginner Quints because they're just so easy to use. They have a real creaminess to them, but they're not too soft so that they're crumbly or have a lot of fallout. They're just really, really creamy and blend out beautifully and play really, really nicely with each other. So loving these Quints. And I can't believe I at first wasn't gonna get these because the color stories are pretty basic, I will admit. You know, I look at these and I think, oh, okay, I'm pretty sure I have those shades in my collection, but man, oh man, it's the formula. It's so, so good. Okay, as for lips, you guys, I have completely fallen in love with the Dior lip oil in the Lemon Glow. That's the one, it was part of the Dior Riviera collection. And I remember when I tried it out for you, I was doing like a first impressions. I was like, I'm not sure like what this is supposed to do. It just didn't seem to have any color at all. Not that I wanted yellow lips, but it didn't seem to have any sort of shading to it at all. But in fact, it does have a really beautiful kind of like milky pink shade. The only reason why I'm not holding it up right now is because I left it in a purse that I left when I traveled to Maine last weekend. So it's being mailed back to me, but I don't know when it's arriving. So anyway, I'm very bummed that I've been without it for the past week. I've been thinking about it, which is why it's ended up in this video under my favorites, because I'm like, should I just go out and get another one? I should just go out and get another one, which I probably will actually, but I love it. The texture is really, really great. It's, I mean, you guys know, if you try the lip oil, there's like a density to it, but it's not like it just sits on top of your lips. But it doesn't like go away just after like one meal. It hangs out on your lips for a while. It's so moisturizing and I love it. I love like the little bit that it gives my lips, the little bit of milkiness that it gives my lips, which I wasn't able to detect when I first put it on. But yeah, ever since then, I have completely fallen in love with it and I travel with it now. It's, you know, kind of like a permanent fixture in my purse, whatever purse I'm using that day. I really, really miss it. And I love, love, love that lip oil. Now, another lip product that I have really enjoyed in the past, but they have come out with tinted versions. It's the Dr. McCrean Actives High Performance Lip Filler, and I have the shade Pink. And I loved just the plain old clear one, and I think that's appeared in my favorites. However, that packaging, it was like a roller ball at the top, and because this has a pretty thin texture to it, the roller ball was actually fine, except once you kind of started using it. So I noticed with the lip filler, once like it got, I don't know, like 1/3 of the way down, it was like I had to wait for it to, you know, hit the roller ball, and then I had to use it like this so that gravity helped like the product come out. It just became, it didn't make sense. It basically didn't make sense. When the bottle was full, it was fine. You could do this and like, you know, the product would reach the roller ball. You could roll it onto your lips. It was fine. But anyway, they have since changed up the packaging where this is now a doe foot, but you'll see like how thin the product is. And so this is, I don't know, I don't want to say it's messy, but it's probably thinner than you think it is. So just be careful if you do decide to pick this up. But this is what I have on my lips right now with lip liner, which I'll talk about a little bit later. But this is such a beautiful plumping kind of lip product. And, you know, normally I would talk about a product like this under skincare, but because this is tinted, I just decided to talk about it, you know, while I talk about makeup. But it makes my lips look so full. Not even just makes them look, like it's not like an optical illusion. It really plumps my lips up. Like any sort of, you know, lines or creases you have in your lips, you will notice within like a couple of minutes, they just like fill up from this, you know, lip filler is what it's called. It really works wonders. It is really, really beautiful. It's so comfortable on the lips. Like I said, it has that thinnish kind of consistency, but it's not, it doesn't feel messy. You know, it doesn't feel like one of those glosses that, I don't know, there's some glosses out there that they're just not right. They always make me look like and feel like I'm drooling. It's not like that at all. This is really, really beautiful, and I love what it does for my lips. And you guys know I do love a face mist, especially in the summertime, and especially now that I'm going through perimenopause and I feel like my standard temperature is like 2 degrees higher than it normally is. I love a good face mist. So I've been using the Kosas Cloud Set Airy Setting and Smoothing Mist. This is a really great like makeup setter, but it's also, it just feels really, really great. I like the sprayer. The sprayer is so important. It's probably the most important the most important aspect of any sort of face mist. It has to come out really fine. It has to be a really, really fine spritzer. You don't want like big blobs on your skin. So this has a really wonderful mister, and it's not sticky. I don't like really sticky, tacky mists that you can kind of feel even once it's like kind of dried down and you've like patted it in or whatever, it's done its thing, and you still feel it, like it feels like a coating on your skin. I don't like that at all. And this doesn't do that at all. It's very, very light feeling. It's very airy. Was that in the, yeah, airy setting. It's very airy. I do agree with the name. It's really lovely. And I love the packaging. What can I say? And the spritzer wonderful. Okay, I have more favorites that are skincare focused. So let me start with this because this is incredible. I've talked about this like off and on for a few videos now, kind of alluding to how much I'm loving this, but I picked up this set when I was at Violet Grey in LA in person. And the saleswoman that was there, she immediately pointed out this product. I was kind of like looking around. If you've been to Violet Grey in LA, it's not that big. And so I was just kind of poking around a lot of the things I was familiar with already. They had some interesting perfumes, you know, so I was poking around and she just, I don't know, she just came over and she was like, have you tried this? She's like, I've been trying it. And she's like, it's really, really incredible. And I said, okay. I'm like, so what's the deal? Like, why both? And so this is the instant peel, which is the first step. So you basically use this product on dry skin before you get in the shower. And what it's like is almost like as soon as you start rubbing it onto your skin, it's almost like eraser shavings. So you're like rolling off the dead skin on your body. It's very interesting. A lot of times I feel like, is that my skin that's rolling off? It's not. It's this instant peel. There's no like gritty texture to it. There's no acid to it. It's just this interesting kind of like, it balls up and you can tell like as it's balling up and as you're kind of like brushing it away, it's like erasing the dead skin on your body. It's really, really cool. So then, you know, you shower as normal. And then when you get out, you put on this firming serum. This firming serum, okay, it's got, I'm just gonna hold this up because it has a lot of call out ingredients, one of which is hyaluronic acid. I think bakuchiol is on there. So it really does like an interesting, I'm not gonna go so far as to say like, it's gonna look like you got like a facelift for your body. I'm not gonna go so far as to say that, but you definitely like feel like a little bit of like a tingling, like support, like around, especially my legs. That's definitely where I felt it. I don't think I felt it on my arms now that I'm thinking about it. I always kind of feel it around like my knees and my calf area. And it's this like very interesting kind of feeling to it. Again, I don't know if I can go so far as to say I actually like see a huge difference, but it feels really, really nice. Now, what I really truly love about this firming serum and why I'm recommending it to you is because nothing has made my skin feel softer than this combination without any kind of like greasy body butter cream situation. This is so thin. Actually, let me squeeze out a little bit. It's so thin. It really is just like a serum for your body. And I am so excited for this product. I don't know if you guys can tell. I'm like so excited for this product because with summer coming, my skin not only gets dry because of, well, the dry heat here in Vegas, all of the air conditioning. You know, I've always in the past used like body butters and all of these like really thick moisturizers. And when I'm hot and I'm sweaty, the last thing I want is for some thick body butter to just be like on my skin. And so it's like the best of both worlds. You get like really soft, beautiful, like radiant skin without any like product just sort of like hanging out on your body. It's perfect. It is perfect, not only for the summertime, but for anyone out there who just doesn't like that heavy feeling, or like, I don't know, there isn't like a worse feeling than putting on a body butter and then like jeans. I just think, I'm like, ugh, like I'm moist. There's too much going on down there. Anyway, give this a shot. It is so worth it. So worth it. But you need to get both. You have to get the instant peel, use this in the shower, and then use this after the shower. And you only need to use this like twice a week, I think is what they recommend. That's what I've been doing. I probably have used this 4 or 5 times at this point. So good. So now I've also been using this nighttime combination on and off. I definitely used it. Well, let me explain. So this is the La Mer, the Night Recovery Concentrate. This they just sent me. And then this is the Rejuvenating Night Cream, which came out months ago. So if you use their concentrate, this is basically like a nighttime version of it. The concentrate comes more in like a serum bottle, and when you open it up, it's got that stick in there, and the serum is, or the concentrate is like a concentrated serum. So it's almost like a gel, not sticky like that, almost like a really thin balm. If you guys have ever used it, you know what I'm talking about. Anyway, the Night Recovery Concentrate is basically the nighttime version of that. And so it has a very similar, I think you can probably tell by the looks of it, it has a very similar kind of texture to that concentrate. And then the Rejuvenating Night Cream is actually, surprisingly, a little bit thinner than the La Mer moisturizing cream. Usually night creams are like thicker, they're almost mask-like or whatever. This is a very interesting formula because they formulated this to be worn at night so that you wouldn't be leaving anything behind on your pillowcase, on your eye mask, anything like that. So it's meant to basically like dry down on your skin. And it definitely took a little getting used to because, you know, I'm a long time, very devoted fan of La Mer, and I'm used to that very rich moisturizing cream and it kind of acting as like a protective layer to my skin, where this, you know, at first I wasn't sure, am I using enough? Like, what's happening? And I knew that they had created this special formula for nighttime so that you wouldn't be transferring all of your skincare to like whatever you have on, whatever you're sleeping on. But it really took, you know, it took like a couple weeks or so for me to see the difference, to be completely convinced that I was using enough and that this was indeed a very special product. So I did start out by using this. I was using this pretty religiously for a while, seeing a really nice difference with my skin, especially when I woke up, having like less like sheet wrinkles and stuff, and a lot less redness. I was waking up really irritated, and I think maybe between allergies or just like heat at that time when I started using it. Yeah, I just noticed that my skin was just really refreshed the way it should be after waking up. And then I put this into the mix. So then I started using this as like my serum and then layering this on top. Wow, I feel like my skin just looks, it's like glowing. Not only does it look refreshed, it doesn't look irritated. Obviously it's not dry when I wake up, but now I feel like adding this into the mix, I feel like my skin is like glowing when I wake up. So, you know, I would try either of these or both of these if you can, but it is really, really game-changing, really game-changing. So wanted to recommend that to you guys. I did also want to recommend this lip treatment from True Botanicals. This is really quite nice, and I like that it's just like in this easy doe foot applicator. I could just leave this by my bed. I'm laying there. I'm usually reading before I go to sleep. I roll over to turn my bedside lamp off and I see this, and it's because it's so easy, I'm like, oh, awesome. And then I just throw it on and it's really nice. My lips feel really, really nice. This doesn't have too much of like a lip mask feeling. Again, I don't like all this goopiness on my face before I go to sleep. It's just not comfortable to me. And then I do always feel like I'm gonna get it on my sheets or like my pajamas or whatever. This has a nice, just a nice texture. It feels like a mix between like an oil and a gloss. And it just, you know, it gets absorbed into your lips fairly quickly, but it stays, like it keeps my lips really, really plump, like all night through the morning. So yeah, I really love this. Really, really love this True Botanicals lip treatment. And then last but not least, in terms of skincare that I've really been loving, I've been using this on and off as my day cream. I picked this up. This is the Sisley Sensitive Skin Soothing Care. It's for sensitivity and discomfort. And I picked this up basically because my allergies can really be annoying. Really, really annoying. Not only just the regular stuff, runny, itchy eyes, you know, sneezing, congestion, all that kind of stuff. My skin will, you know, as the day progresses, I notice like early afternoon to like dinner time, I'll get hives here, like at high allergy season. And so I started using this, like applying this in the mornings, and it kept my skin just like, it like fought off all of that allergy activity throughout the day. So I don't know if you guys are suffering with allergies or if you just have environmental allergies, maybe dust or wind or whatever that really irritates your skin. I would give this a shot. This is a product that is really, really meant to help your barrier. And it's really wonderful. And it's also got a really cool pump. Do you see that? So I think it's almost like it's airtight. So when you press this down, it comes out of the front little nozzle here, but this is, yeah, it's really interesting. Anyway, here's the texture of it. It's not too thick. It's a really nice daytime moisturizer, sits really nicely underneath my makeup. And yeah, and it works quickly. It's not like one of those things I had to use for 2 weeks and then I started to see a difference. I started to see a difference in terms of like the sensitivity to like my allergies. I started to see a difference immediately from like the first day I put it on. So I really love this Sisley Sensitive Skin Soothing Care. Highly recommend if you have like very reactive skin. All right, now let's talk about my fails. Let's get those over with. So The Armani cheek tints, can I just say, I don't like those. I don't, and I've returned them, otherwise I would show them to you, but I got the shimmer ones, and there's just something lacking in them. And it's not even just a lacking of pigmentation. I just felt like, I don't know, like they just didn't blend out quite as nicely as I wanted. The pigmentation was very light, and I generally appreciate a light blush that builds up because, you know, you don't want to go in real heavy, real strong, real fast. There's just like nothing to them. They felt a little bit thin. I just wanted something more. I wanted more of like staying power. That was the other thing, like they faded really, really quickly. It was definitely one of those products I would put on. I'd be like, okay, looks okay. And then I would turn around and be like, didn't I put blush on? Like they would just fade. The shimmer, I don't know, it didn't feel like it did anything for my complexion. I just wasn't a fan. I just was not a fan. And I think I'm in the minority there. If it works for you, please let us know if you have any tricks or whatever. I even tried putting it over powder because I know sometimes like liquid and cream products, they just stick better and they become more vibrant, like the color over some powder. And that they didn't work. It's not like they balled up or anything. The formula is stable in that way, but it just didn't do anything for like the pigmentation or just like the appearance of them. Yeah, it just wasn't my favorite. They just look kind of blotchy on my skin. They didn't blend out nicely. So anyway, those were a fail for me, and I did return the ones that I purchased, the shimmer ones that I got. Another fail for me, and I kept trying this, is the Sarah Creole bronzer. Now the formula is okay, it's the tone, and so this is completely personal, but the tone of this is just too warm, and I feel this way about her other bronzing product. It's the one that comes in that, it's like a squeezy tube, but it's flat and round and orange, and it's like this primer that has like a little bit of a bronzy tint to it. So it's really nice if, you know, you just like maybe your body got a little bit tan and you just want like a little bit more color on your face. It's really nice for that. But that I also felt was very, very warm. And, you know, I think I was really kind of psyched out. So many of you pointed this out. It was so brilliant of you guys that I thought this was a neutral to cool tone bronzer, but it's the orange packaging that kind of throws it off. But it's very orange. It's very orange on my skin tone. It doesn't look great. And it's, you know, like I said, the formula is fine. It's on the more emollient side, which is nice. It blends out really beautifully. It's the tone that I don't really like. It just doesn't work for me. It doesn't work for me. If you have like a warmer skin tone, I think this would probably look great on you, but it didn't look good on me. So that unfortunately did not work out for me. Another bronzer I was kind of on the fence about, and I've just decided I don't really like it. It's the Benefit Hoola Wave. So this is their Hoola bronzer, but in a cream form. But this cream, it's so interesting because when you go in, it's very clearly a cream, but it's so dry. It's basically the exact opposite of the Sarah Creole, which is emollient. This is most definitely like a cream to powder kind of formula. And the more I used it, the more I realized like how warm it is. Actually, you can see how similar the shades are. It's even more orange than the Sarah Creole. Can you see that? But it doesn't look that way in the pan. By the way, this is the original shade. I think they have like a couple of other shades in this Hoola. The formula is not my favorite. It's like, it's dry and then the color isn't quite right. So anyway, it's just strange because when you look at this in the pan, it almost looks like it's gonna have this creamy, almost like metallic kind of sheen to it. And it just doesn't. It kind of just falls flat on my cheeks, unfortunately, but I'm sorry, Benefit, but that was a fail for me. Okay, so, you know, I've tried a lot of products over the past month, and a lot of products they're not favorites and they're not fails. So I'm going to talk about, I'm going to give you the highlights of the things that I've tried. Otherwise, we'd be here forever. But the Jones Road Just Enough Tinted Moisturizer, I really liked this formula, but the shade that they sent me, which is beige, was way too warm for me, way too warm. So I'm holding off on my final thoughts regarding this, but I do really like the formula. It is really just a tint. It has very, very light coverage, which I really adore. And it feels really moisturizing on the skin, but it doesn't look oily on the skin. So it's a really nice kind of like hybrid formula, and it's super comfortable. I really, really like the way it felt. I just didn't like the shade. So I have to get a lighter shade. I think I'm gonna get Alabaster or Ivory. Yeah, I think there's a few shades lighter than beige. I think this is like maybe 5. There's a few lighter shades than beige, so I'm gonna grab something lighter. But yeah, so far I'm like, until I get the lighter shade, I can't say for sure whether or not I love this. But so far I do like the formula. Okay, the Charlotte Tilbury Contour Lip Duos. These are the lip cheats, the dual-ended. There's like a fill and there's a sculpt. And I used these in my trying new makeup video last week. I like these. I like the shades. I think they're great. I guess I don't really know what I was thinking. So, you know, you have a deeper shade, which is meant to be the sculpt, the contour shade, and then you have the quote unquote fill shade. But both of these are the lip cheat, the like lip liner formula. So I feel like actually not all I'm getting, but what I'm getting are 2 lip liners versus what I had in mind as using these together. Now of course, you can use them together and you can use to like shade or whatever, but I do think it's a little deceptive to say fill for this, unless you would fill your entire lip with a lip liner. And then we've got this skinny little pencil that's meant to fill in your lips. I don't think that's a really good idea. And then also you'll use the fill up so much faster than you would use the sculpt, which I'm assuming you would just like line your lips. So I'm just like trying to figure out like how I would use these other than I have 2 lip liners, you know, like the whole sculpt and then the fill thing, I think is a little, it's a little incorrect. You're incorrect, Charlotte Tilbury. Sorry. I don't know. I don't think it's a fill. I think we just have like complementary lip shades here. So anyway, if you like the lip cheat formula, you'll love these. If you're really into like lip liners and kind of playing around, like maybe you would use both of these liners to line, like the darker one in the corners, you know, to recede, the lighter ones here in the middle to kind of like bring your lips forward or whatever, if you want them to look more plump, then that makes a little bit more sense. But I wouldn't actually like fill necessarily, like fill my lip with what she's saying is the fill, which is the lighter shade in these duos. So I think if you could think of like the way that you would use 2 lip liners together, these make total sense. Or if you're okay with just, I have 2 lip cheats, which I think is really, really great. My personal favorite is the medium, these 2, because they're different enough. The fair, are 2 pinks. They're a little bit too close, I think, to really do a nice like ombre situation, but the medium is different enough. The tan is different enough. The tan is very, very warm in tone. And then the deep is actually very neutral in tone. Maybe even the sculpt is like on the cooler side. This is more neutral. This does a nice job like ombreing. Anyway, those are kind of like my random thoughts. So these definitely aren't like a favorite. They're not a fail at all, but I'm just like, I don't know. I don't know if like the whole idea of like the fill is a little gimmicky, if you will. It's really just, you know, you get 2 lip liners basically. And then the Merit lip liner. So this is something I hauled during the Sephora VIB sale. So I've been using it on and off here and there. I got the shade Bespoke. I really like this shade. Here, let me do a swatch. That is the Bespoke shade. This glides on really beautifully. The pigmentation is a little bit on the lighter side, I think, but fine. You know, you can always kind of like build it up or whatever. My issue is, I don't know if you can see, it's very emollient. So it is very comfortable, but I find that these have like 0 lasting power, like not good. Not good at all. If you want the lip liner to really help like keep your lipstick from running or feathering or anything like that, it really is, it's not great for that. I almost think, I don't know, it's strange. I almost feel like this would have made a really good fill formula because they're so creamy, you know what I mean? Anyway, I just don't think they're a great lip liner, if you will. They're okay superficially, but then I don't know, I don't think they do anything as the day goes on. So that's the Merit, you know, not a total fail. I don't think they're like terrible. They're just not, I don't know, they're not great. They're not for me. Okay, the Tower 28 Get Set Pressed Powder. They sent me Balboa Banana. And I think because I have such dry skin, this powder looked a little bit dry. If I used just a whisper of it, it was okay. But yeah, it tends to look a little bit dry on my skin. And I think if you have anything other than like terribly dry skin, this powder would probably be fine because yeah, it set down my makeup. It was really nice. It wasn't terribly blurring. Like it was just a very nice standard powder. And yeah, I think if I didn't have extremely dry skin, I would have been fine with this, but it's just a little bit too dry for my skin, and I have to be a little bit careful to use it. But again, by far it's not a fail. It's not a terrible product. It just, yeah, I would just be careful. If you have dry skin, I'd be careful using this. All right. It has been a moment for tinted lip balms, lightly tinted lip glosses, those sorts of things. They all seem to be coming in this form factor with the squeezy tip or whatever. Okay, so a couple of ones that I want to mention. I hauled the Eadem, E-A-D-E-M. I hauled that one during the Sephora VIB sale, and I really liked it. And then I noticed that like my lips weren't really liking it, and I realized there was lactic acid in there, which is, it's either an AHA or BHA. Anyway, my skin does not like lactic acid, even though it's supposed to be one of the more gentle ones. It is probably the one that my skin dislikes the most. So I actually returned that. So yeah, so if your skin is not bothered by lactic acid, that's a fine one. That's absolutely a fine one. And then I've got the Outset, the Lip Oasis. I like the product in here. I'm holding up the shade because they are tinted, holding up the shade Dune. Now, like I said, I really like the actual formula. It's very nourishing. And most of these are, like none of these lip products I'm about to talk about actually make my lips feel dry in any way. But this packaging is interesting because it's harder than a lot of these, which are just squeezy tubes. And at first I was like, why? Why are they making this difficult? And I realized it's actually for the best, because a lot of these, when it's just a squeezy tube, I squeeze out way too much. And so this sort of helps you like not squeeze out too much. Very like controlled way of being able to squeeze out product. Sorry, I don't think it's focusing. Squeeze out product. Anyway, because this is firmer, you won't just like squeeze out too much at once. So I actually kind of appreciate that. And like I said, this one's very, very nice. Makes my lips feel very comfortable. The Ultraviolet Sheen Screen SPF 50. This is really great because it has SPF. So this one, let me just show you, has a really dense, do you see that? It's like a dense kind of paste to it. So it does sit on your lips a little bit. Hold on, let me just blend this out. It does sit on your lips a little bit, but I love the fact that it has SPF 50 in there. It is dense and kind of gooey. So it's one of those, like when you drink something, if you get any liquid on your lips, it's just kind of like roll off. It's really interesting, but I do love that this is an SPF product. Yeah, I think they have a few colors of this. So anyway, this is the shade Dusk, which is this shade. Very nice, very nice. Okay, and then Mara sent me their Sea Silk Lip Balm. They actually sent me a couple colors. This one is Nude Beach, and then they also sent me Sea Latte. Now this, hold on, just trying to get a swatch for you, is even thicker than the Ultraviolet. It's very, very dense, and it does kind of sit on top of the lips, which, you know, when my lips are really dry, that's what I prefer. I want something that's really gonna kind of protect them, or if I'm going out, I remember like when I lived in New York City, it was great. If I was going out and it was just really cold out, or here in Vegas when it's really hot and sunny, it's nice to have something that's kind of just like over my lips. So that's how I envision using the Mara, because it has such a denseness to it. I'm realizing I did not swatch the Outset for you. Let me do that. So the Outset has a much finer, thinner texture than the Ultraviolet or the Mara. And then finally I have the Ole Henriksen Pout Preserve Peptide Lip Treatment. And they sent this to me a while ago, and I got like this influx of tinted lip balms, and I was like, whoa, 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 I need to like try all of these. This one is actually a really nice hybrid between the Outset and like the Ultraviolet. It's a little bit thinner than these two guys, but it's a little bit thicker, a little bit silkier than the Outset. I really like the Ole Henriksen. It has a really, really nice texture, and it's hard to say, I was gonna say out of 4 that I'm talking about, it's probably my favorite, but I really like the fact that the Ultraviolet has SPF 50 in there. So I don't know if I'd call it my favorite, but I'll say this, it's my favorite texture is the Ole Henriksen. And they did come out with like tinted ones. So the one that I just swatched is Creme Brulee Glimmer. That's this guy right here. They're just tinted, so it doesn't make that much of a difference what tint they are. I mean, a little bit, but not that much. I definitely have some other tinted lip balms that I need to try. I have not given them enough of a chance yet, so you'll probably see a repeat of this in next month's Luxury Beauty Lowdown, but I think that's it for this month. I think I've been talking long enough. Let me know your thoughts, your favorites, your fails down below in the comment section. We would all love to hear from you. Give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Subscribe down below if you haven't already, and I'll see you in my next video.